Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is part of the UKAS Academy's Activities for Learning at Work Week. My name's Laura Turner. I'm in the marketing team here at UKAS, and in just a minute, I'll be handing you over to my colleague, Rachel Boyer-Blanchard. Rachel's our Senior Commercial Training Specialist, and she actually brings with her over 20 years' experience at UKAS, so you are in very capable hands today. This session is designed to be interactive, and Rachel will be running a few quick polls during the session, and there'll also be time for Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions along the way, could you please drop them in the Q&A function rather than the chat? That way we can be sure nothing gets missed. Rachel's also joined by a few other members of the UKAS Academy team who will just be in the background to help with questions. That will include Adam Jones, our learning advisor, and also Michelle Tyndale, our head of commercial training. We are recording this session and we'll be sending you a copy by email next week in case you want to revisit anything or share it with a colleague. And so that is all from me. Without further ado, I will hand you over to Rachel, who can get us started.
Thanks, Laura. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. In this session, we're going to talk a little bit about me. I'll give you an introduction, and then we're going to move on to the Academy, our remit, our portfolio, and as Laura's just explained, we're going to intersperse the session with a few polls just to gauge some responses to those questions. So I'm going to start by talking about a young Rachel. A long time ago, over 30 years ago, she was finding her feet in the world of biomedical science and an avid learner. And she was at the end of a fantastic work experience, having produced a set of slides of all of the human organs. A variety of different staining techniques had been used, and she'd been supported by an amazing training officer who then made her share that learning with her colleagues. She had to talk about the challenges of the techniques, the outcomes, and anything that she'd do differently. So, powered by that positive response that young Rachel had, she pootled off home and she thought, you know what, I'm going to share this with my family. They, however, were less than enthusiastic. They were far less interested. And in fact, they were quite perturbed talking about the challenges of cutting sections of fixed embedded brain tissue over an evening meal. Nonetheless, it was a conversation that's often recalled at family gatherings, with the knowledge that was talked about in that conversation retained and repeated, although none of them, to my knowledge, have ever put that skill into place. So I tell you this because unbeknownst to me at the time, that was my foundation of travel as a trainer, an imparter of knowledge, a grower of others with a keen desire to empower others to achieve their goals. And that's continued throughout my career. I was a member of the Standards Training and Education Group within Clinical Pathology Accreditation. And then when we moved into UKAS, I continued with my responsibilities as a trainer as well as an assessment manager, which then ultimately led to me becoming the Senior Commercial Training Specialist for the Academy. I've taken the opportunity in moving into this role to extend my expertise and to professionally develop as a learning designer. Learning something that I'm absolutely passionate about because it enables me to combine two of my interests, and that's both science and creativity. A key part of this role is to develop our content alongside our experts to enable you to better demonstrate conformity and benefit from that application of the standard requirements. And as Confucius says, the essence of knowledge is having it to apply it. So, just a little bit more about the Academy, and that is that about UKAS, and as our role as the national accreditation body within the UK, we have within our Articles of Association the requirement to share knowledge and training to enable organisations to help them to meet the requirements of international standards. A key part of what we do as the Academy is in line with consideration of impartiality. It's one of the cornerstones of accreditation, and it is of utmost importance in maintaining the trust that stakeholders should expect from accreditation. UKAS strongly adheres to the requirements of ISO IEC 1711 2017, that's the conformity requirements for accreditation bodies who accredit conformity assessment bodies, to ensure that accreditation is undertaken impartially and to maintain impartiality. And that's a key priority for UKAS. So we have to bear that in mind as we develop our training material. So UKAS does provide training to external parties through the provision of courses, and that is done in with experience and expertise of our technical focus persons and our accreditation and development specialists to develop content that will meet your needs and support you on your accreditation journey. So with that in mind, we come to our first poll question. Laura, could you start the poll, please? Okay, so please can you tell us whether you've undertaken any training that's been offered by the Academy? I'll just give you a moment to do that. Okay, lovely. Thank you all very much. So now I'm going to go on to describe a little bit more about what we do. So the Academy offers a variety of services. These include commercial professional development, and that's through our face-to-face courses, virtual courses, and our e-learning portfolio. We also offer any of our virtual and face-to-face courses as in-house opportunities. So that means your organisation can come to us and talk about having specific courses delivered within your environment to your staff pool. Largely speaking, our portfolio falls into 3 core areas with some additional specific technical courses. So we provide courses that will help you to prepare for accreditation. We have courses that are focused on awareness of specific standards, and that covers the whole series of across certification, across calibration, testing, and into medical laboratories and healthcare, so physiological services and imaging services as well. We also offer internal audit courses, and again, those are available as virtual or face-to-face. And then we've got some other courses that focus on key requirements such as measurement uncertainty. So all of our courses, as I've said before, are developed in conjunction with our technical focus persons, our accreditation specialists and development specialists, and the technical manager at UKAS to ensure that we've got that rigour of technical content to support you on your journeys. We also offer advisory services to developing national accreditation bodies and support them with international projects, and we can also offer tailored solutions to support their onward journeys. We've got dedicated learning and accreditation advisors that are ready to support you with your learning and accreditation needs. And I'm going to introduce you to our learning advisor towards the end of the session. The Academy is supported by our amazing customer-centric commercial coordinator, Michelle Price. And if you've attended any of our courses, you know that she'll do anything within her gift to ensure your participation is as you would wish it to be. We also have our own in-house 17025 expert in Kaylee Carr, And we're supported across the breadth of the delivery of those courses by a host of internal trainers and external trainers, all of whom bring to those courses a diverse wealth of expertise and experience in accreditation and conformity. So ultimately, the Academy exists to empower our customers to be better at what they do, which in turn should result in an increase in the effective demonstration of conformance with the standard. Ultimately, this should result in developing and growing this world of confidence and trust. So I've got another poll question for you now. Are there specific topics or areas where you feel additional training would be beneficial for your organisation? And if so, what are those? So if you can type into the poll, that would be great. Whilst you're typing your responses in, I'll highlight as well that all of the information about our individual courses can be found at UKAS.com on the training pages. So if you haven't familiarised yourself with that, we'll also make sure you've got a link so you're able to have a look at that and look at the information on specific courses. That's great. I can see we've got a lot of responses there. Thank you all very much. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that to another question for you. As a learning design specialist, this is something that I always like to try and find out when I'm talking to our stakeholders and when we're looking at new content development. So what types of training formats do you find most effective? So for example, e-learning, virtual, so in-house, or classroom-based? Again, I'll give you a couple of moments to type in your responses. Okay. That's fantastic. Thank you all very much for those responses. And I can see the one that's highlighted as being clearly getting a lot of responses is the virtual delivery type, but also in-house as well. Okay, that's great. Thank you all very much for that. So I'm going to move on to talk about something that we in-house we conduct when we're starting to look at content development for new courses, and really something just to share with you all in your environment. So conducting a learning needs analysis before selecting a training course is crucial. Because it ensures that the training then aligns with your specific needs and goals of the learners and the organisation. So that process of conducting a learning needs analysis enables you to identify the skills and knowledge gaps that need to be addressed, allowing for a more targeted and effective training programme. By understanding those needs, you can better allocate your resources, you can avoid unnecessary training and enhance overall productivity and performance. And additionally, a well-conducted needs analysis can increase learner engagement and motivation, as the training is going to be relevant and directly applicable to their roles. So there are a variety of different learning needs analysis templates that you can use, and after the event, we will provide just a simple example that we often use when we're starting to develop new course material. Okay. So my next question for you is quite a simple one, and it's: do you currently do a learning needs analysis before you select a training option? At the end of this poll, what I'm going to do is introduce you to Adam, who's our learning advisor. And he is one of the individuals that you can get in touch with when you're conducting your learning needs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, apologies for that. I was having a bit of technical issues. No, I am one of the learning advisors for the UKAS Training Academy, and feel free to reach out and contact me. So I'm more than happy to help you and your team carry out one of our learning needs analysis to help support you and hit your learning targets. If I have the contact email at the end of the presentation. However, what I'll do as well is I'll pop it in the chat for you so you can all access it, and feel free to email me at any point.
Thanks, Adam. Adam works closely with myself, with our head of commercial training, and with our trainers to make sure that the solutions that we put into place will work for you and will help you to achieve what you want to achieve. So my next question for you is: what challenges have you faced during the accreditation process? And how do you think training could help address these challenges? Again, this is free text, so please pop your answers in, and I'll give you just a couple of moments to have a think about those and type your responses in. Yeah. Yeah, so at the moment, looking at the outputs, the UKAS portal, requirements for audits are key areas that represent challenges for you. Okay, lovely. Okay, so we've got some great answers there that will give us some food for thought, as well as we continue to develop our portfolio and to support you in achieving accreditation. Thank you all very much for that. So one of the things that we're very conscious about within the Academy is obviously in terms of working environment, it's a rapid changing environment. New technologies mean that some of the skills that we've got now are going to be redundant in a relatively short time, and there are new skills that we're all going to have to develop. We're very aware of that, and we want to support our conformity assessment bodies to prepare for a different future. And one key aspect of this is the future of digitalisation in conformity assessment. We're starting to develop material to support conformity assessment bodies to consider how to get started in those areas and ensure that learning remains at the top of personal and organisational strategic plans. And this ties in very strongly with the outcome of one of the Gallup polls, which related to when employees receive the training they need and want, companies are 17% more productive. That was a Gallup poll done earlier this year. So we can see that, you know, that's learning and development of your staff must remain high on that agenda for organisations, but equally from a personal and professional level, it needs to remain high so that we can continue to develop and become more productive as organisations. So another question for you is, what new training programmes or initiatives would you like to see from the UKAS Academy in the future? Yep, so straight away, straight in there, we've got AI and digitalisation. Lovely, okay. Yeah, so as we've seen in a variety of environments, AI is clearly one of the key areas that's on everyone's radar, and certainly has been a strong topic of conversation within the Academy for well over the last year and a half. Okay. That's great. I can see that the responses are continuing to come in. So please, if you haven't popped something on there, please feel free to do that. So this now takes us through, I've just highlighted, if you do want to get in touch with the Academy, we do have an inbox that you can message directly, and that will then be filtered through to the relevant people. But that is training@ukas.com. So now it's over to you. This is your opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. And I know that Laura will be on hand to help me with those questions. Thanks, Laura.
Hello there. Yes, absolutely. Thanks for that. That was a really good overview. A bit of a frightening insight into your dinner time conversation around brain tissue as well. We have had a few questions. If you've got a question you haven't yet popped it in, please do add it to the Q&A section and we will get to it. But I can see a few in there. Someone has asked, how does virtual learning differ from e-learning? I suppose that's around the naming.
Oh, great question. That's a great question. So our virtual learning is real-time, trainer delivered courses. So any of our courses that we deliver in a classroom environment, we also offer in an e-learning, in a virtual environment. So we use a software package similar to Teams, but slightly different, where you'll have a trainer in the room with you. We have a host to make sure that you can move around to different virtual breakout rooms. So you get the same experience as a face-to-face course, but just sat at your desk via your own computer system. E-learning is self-directed, accessible at any time, in the absence of a trainer delivering that material to you. Although you may well see snippets of videos within e-learning that a trainer's created and provided, but it's not real time. So it's at your own time, on your own system. That can be accessed. Our e-learning will work on laptops, tablets, mobile phones, so it really is accessible at any time.
So just to confirm, when you're doing virtual learning, you are actually having a live interaction with an actual trainer, whereas e-learning is more sort of on your own time with the material that's been provided.
Absolutely. So, and as well, in a virtual learning environment, you'll have a cohort of learners with you. So there'll be a number of other learners. So it still has the social learning aspect that you get within a face-to-face environment.
Lovely. And we've also had another question. Do the courses count towards CPD hours? Someone has asked.
Okay, so we're not CPD accredited at the moment. You can still count them towards your hours, but we don't offer a CPD certificate at the minute. Although if you do complete any of our courses, you will get a certificate of completion.
Right, okay. Somebody's asked, is there any training specifically for laboratories wanting to apply a flexible scope?
That's a really good question. We don't have any specific training at the moment on flexible scopes. There are some articles on the website to support applicants considering flexible scopes. And I know it has been a topic of conversation at our demystifying webinars as well, that can be retrieved, recordings of which can be retrieved from the UKAS website.
Okay. We've had another question here. I don't know what this person means, but I'm hoping that you will, Rachel.
Okay.
So someone's asked, could UKAS carry out technician training in a similar way to ASTM?
Okay. It's not something that we do at the moment. Whether it's something that we would look to develop, it possibly. We have to be careful about that conflict of interest, in that if we're training your technicians directly in a technical capacity to conduct a test, then we're then the body that's going to come in and assess that. So it could present a conflict of interest for us as the national accrediting body.
Understood. Someone's asked, do you have any specific risk management training that's designed for med labs?
Okay, so we haven't gone down the route. We do include risk management in our ISO 15189 awareness course, so it is included within that course. It's also within our transition course for 15189, because obviously the shift there from 2012 version to 2022, there was that shift in emphasis on risk management. We do have an in-depth module on the identification, documentation and management of risk for all of this. It covers all of the standards with some specific 15189 examples in, and that's in our e-learning portfolio. So that is quite a good detailed e-learning training on risk overall, and then with some examples for 15189. So there are a variety of different solutions there, and by all means speak to Adam if you're interested in that, and we can look at that with you.
Certainly. Someone's asked a question which I think actually relates a little bit to assessment as well. They've said, with most things moving to electronic form, is UKAS still expecting to see paper form of paperwork, so for training records specifically, or would an electronic record be okay? And then actually the same person's asked, is Google Forms okay? So,
okay. So I'll take the first part of the question. So in terms of assessment, and when we're assessing your records, there are, as far as I'm aware, certainly for 15189 and 17025, we're not, it talks about records and being able to retrieve records. So as an assessment manager, I wouldn't be looking for a piece of paper. I'd be looking for you to show me how the system that you've got in place, you can retrieve the records, you can show them to me, you've managed the security of them and the provenance of them to ensure that they're not able to be amended or changed by someone that's unauthorised. So if that's an electronic record, obviously there are other factors that we have to assess, but equally, as long as it's a record, it's retrievable and it demonstrates how your systems function, then that should be a reasonable option for you to demonstrate conformity. Again, what it will depend on is what you put in your policies and procedures. So if you tell us you've got a paper record, we're going to look for a paper record. Whereas if you talk about your electronic record system, then we're going to assess your electronic record system. Does that help?
I imagine it does help. And they also asked whether e-signatures and Google Forms were available. So by sort of extrapolating what you've just said, I suppose if you've said in your quality management that that's what you do, then that's what the assessor will look for. Is that what you would say?
It is. What I would, just make sure that you've got in the forefront of your mind whenever you're using an electronic record is how you're maintaining the security of that record. So if it's an electronic signature, how are you maintaining the security and the confidence in that signature? And likewise, if you're using a Google form, how are you maintaining the provenance of that form and the security of it? So your records tell a story, and obviously we're all aware in the environment that we're working within is that you've got to be able to protect that information and that record, and we've got to have confidence in those security mechanisms that you've got in place to do that.
Thank you. We've had a very general question. What is the course duration minimum? So I'm assuming a very nice standard UKAS it depends answer coming straight for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It does absolutely depend on the solution that you're looking for. Some of our e-learning courses are 15 minutes long, and then we go right up to 3-day courses for things like measurement uncertainty for practitioners, and some of our other standard awareness courses.
Lovely. We've had some interest in specific course topics.
Okay.
So somebody's asked if we do anything around business continuity management auditor training.
Okay. Not at the moment. We don't. No.
No, that's what I thought the answer was. Okay. And then this is a strange one. Someone's asked, do you have training for the requirements of PUWER?
We don't at the minute. No.
Okay.
So that's from Peter. Hi,
It is.
Peter. Nice to see you. We met yesterday. So.
And then someone's also asked, do you have any recommended learning pathways for someone who's or an organisation just getting started with accreditation?
Absolutely. And dependent on your organisation and the programme of accreditation that you're looking for, we have, so for some areas that are still in development, we've got some things that are called application assistance packages. So those offer effectively a guide through the entirety of the process. So the best person to speak to about what we've got available is going to be Adam. But as well as that, we've got short courses on the accreditation journey. There are free assets available from our accreditation advisor that will guide you through the application journey as well. So please reach out. We'll pop Pablo's contact details in as well into the chat. But we've certainly got a whole raft of different courses that will take you on that journey. And we've also, if you really are at the very start of your journey, we've got some e-learning pathways that will prepare you then for our more in-depth awareness courses and internal audit courses. So there are a variety of different solutions there, and it will depend very much on your business sector and which standard you're seeking accreditation to as to which direction of travel. But Adam would certainly be able to guide you along that.
Lovely. We've had another question. I'm not sure if we can help with this one, but Rachel, you might be able to. Someone says, I was hoping for some advice on how to effectively train new staff on the use of asbestos Teams software on tablets. So, Okay,
I think that would be a tricky one to answer in in group. What we will do, I think if we've obviously got your details, I think that's coming from
not anonymous, so we can get back to this person.
Yeah. So we'll come back to you, and I can have a conversation with you about how you might go around that as well.
I suppose it might be possible that some of the asbestos teams might have some input.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll make sure we've got the right people in the room when we have a chat.
Perfect. Okay. So that is it on the Q&A at the moment. Don't believe anyone has put anything else in the Q&A section. So I think we can say thank you very much to Rachel. And thank you very much to everybody who's taken time out of their Friday lunchtime in order to join us and find out a little bit more about what's going on with the UKAS Academy. It's been very informative. I know there's an awful lot going on and more on the horizon as well. So thank you once again to Rachel for giving up your time and giving such a comprehensive overview. As I said at the start of the presentation, this has been recorded. We will get the recording out to you. For people who've asked specific questions that we weren't able to answer online, we'll have a think about how we can get good answers to you. But also, there's always info@ukas.com for general inquiries as well. And please do reach out to Adam, Rachel, or myself if you've got any specific training questions. So I will end the event. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.